show. Tonight we're going to talk about some of the awards that were handed out, the special awards that were handed out, the NASCAR Cup Banquet, and the Xfinity and the Gander Outdoor Truck Series as well. And we're going to pay tribute to one of our fallen drivers, and we're going to talk some stuff for 2021 when we come back.
Inravio.com.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. Tonight, we're going to talk about some of the NASCAR awards. They had their awards ceremony, kind of in a weird way. They, of course, due to all these kind of restrictions and stuff, they couldn't have it, 1,000 people in a ballroom in Las Vegas. So, anyway, some of the awards they gave out, and they gave out the awards just like the weekly series racetracks do. The most popular driver, things of that nature. So the most popular driver in the Cup Series was Chase Elliott. That was his third year in a row earning that honor. Justin Allgaier in the Xfinity Series, that was his second time. And the first time most popular driver winner in the Truck Series was Zane Smith. So as you know, that's a vote of the fans. And it just seems like when drivers get these things, they go in a row. Bill Elliott, Chase's dad, he won that so many years in a row, it wasn't funny. But when you look back on some of the drivers who won most popular driver, they win it like years in a row. And because the people are just voting and voting and voting and voting. And you're allowed to vote like once a day. So they get their fan clubs going, and I guess Chase Elliott will be the most popular driver for the next few years, especially coming off a Cup championship. So that's good. In the Cup Series, the Busch Pole Award went to Chase Elliott, and that's the person, or the driver, I should say, who wins the most poles in the course of his season. So go figure, he's the champion in the Cup Series, and he had the most poles. The Brit Bill France Award of Excellence went to seven-time champion Jimmy Johnson. This award recognizes those who have made a major impact on NASCAR during their time in the sport. 7 championships, you can't make a bigger impact than that. And breaking news from NASCAR, just hot off the press, John Hunter Nemechek will run full-time in the Truck Series in 2021, driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports. So that's a surprise if you ask me. That came out of nowhere. I mean, came out of nowhere. The silly season started about a month ago, and that wasn't even on the radar. And now all of a sudden he's driving Kyle Busch Motorsports, and I'll tell you what, that's Kyle Busch Motorsports in that series is. There are no slouches in there, and I know Kyle Busch ran the truck, and he won just about every time he got in it. But I think anybody that gets in a Kyle Busch Motorsports truck is going to have a good run. A good run.
Yeah, you got good equipment, that's for sure.
Well, they do without a doubt, and I know one of the reasons NASCAR made a change is the number of times a Cup driver could compete in the other series, and I want to avoid saying lower series because they're just other series in my book, is because he was winning all the time, and the regular competitors in that series were getting kind of upset. They're saying, this guy's taking money from us and points, and NASCAR made it that you had to dictate before opening day what series was your primary, and if you said Cup, you can only get Cup points. You said Xfinity, you can only get Xfinity points. And they get new points when the Cup guys go into Xfinity in the trucks. But what they do take away from is, let's say they finish first. The guy who finished second is missing out on those points, and all the way down the line, it's a domino effect.
Yeah,
domino
absolutely.
effect for
Now,
sure.
one of the things you think about, I mean, at least I do, is it the fact that the driver is really that much better, or
Right.
is it the fact that the equipment is that much better in the series that they're in, and they learn so much about these different, say, the equipment or the tracks, that they bring that information that they have to other series.
Right.
And does that, of course, it's a team effort. It's not just one guy that wins a race. Yeah, of course, there's great drivers out there, no doubt. But, if you put a great driver in a bad car, he's still not going to win.
Exactly, exactly. And I'll tell you what, you see that in the local racetracks as well. You see somebody struggling with their late model, their modified, whatever car they're racing, and then somebody else gets in it, the same exact car, and they might tweak it a little bit for their own comfort, and they go out and win. I can remember a late model here at our local racetrack that the guy that was driving it, shall remain nameless, just was not successful in that car. And for some reason, he missed the night or something happened, and Tommy Rogers hopped in it and won, and just won continuously. So, like you said, is it the equipment? Is the car? I mean, a good driver can make inferior equipment look good, but a poor driver, you could give him the best of the best, and they're still not going to go out and be that competitive.
Yeah, and then you have some personal styles as well. So,
Exactly.
one guy's car is not going to be somebody else's personal driver, So,
Right.
but I think percentage-wise, it's kind of small. But equipment is probably, good 70 or 80% of, of the package as far as, whether or not the driver is going to win. And then personal style might be, say, the other 30%.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hey, what's oh, I said was gonna say what's up for some reason. Hey, we're Set It Up, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
You keep your car tuned up and well-maintained, right? Why? Because preparation and maintenance keeps your investment running perfectly. But are you doing the same for your largest investment, your home? Right now, homeowners can take advantage of a free home energy assessment sponsored by PSEG Long Island. Our experts will check your home for energy waste and help you get utility and state rebates and incentives, making your home healthier, more valuable, and more efficient, saving you money. This limited time offer won't last, so get to greenteamny.com/5off5on and sign up for your free home energy assessment now.
Hi there, this is Buddy from Less Than Jake, and you are listening to Inravio TV. You're probably watching it too.
Hey, well, welcome back. Sorry about that. We had a little technical difficulty with my mic, but we're back and we're loud and clear. So, anyway, so we were talking about good equipment, not so good driver, not so good equipment, good driver. It's like you said, it's a fine mix there when we look at that. So, anyway.
What we think it could possibly be. I mean, it's always been talked about, who's the better driver or who's the better equipment, you know what I mean? But I think equipment takes a big spot in that. I think that's a good 90% of the team.
Without a doubt. And like I said, this was like a shocker. Like I said, it wasn't even on the silly season. It was one of those things that just, bam. I mean, we're going live, and I get from our NASCAR friends down, and I don't know what the details are. I haven't had a chance to read the details, but 2021 there's a lot of stuff going on already when we look at that, and I'll tell you, when you look at 2021, it's one of those things that many of the teams are kind of in a quandary, because with the health restrictions likely to continue into early 2021, some NASCAR teams are getting creative with their hospitality options for sponsors. Some teams are backloading their plans later in the season. So they have X, Y, Z number of dollars. They have X number of resources. So instead of putting those dollars and resources to tracks or events that may not have fans in the stands, so they're going to do it later on in the season, and hopefully everything will be squared away. And we all know that day to day, everything's up in the air when it comes to sporting events, and whether it be racing, NFL, NHL, even Major League Baseball.
Yeah, there's a lot of dynamics going on, because if they're not getting the exposure for their sponsors, it's really it's a big deal. It's kind of one of the things we talked about.
Absolutely, and I call it on return on sponsorship dollar. If a sponsor comes to you and says, "Hey, I'm going to give you XYZ dollars," that sponsor is not only expecting exposure, but that sponsor is also expecting to make some money on that in sponsorship money as well. I know when UPS first got involved with NASCAR, with Robert Yates Racing and Dale Jarrett, and I happen to know this because I was involved a little bit with it, not the negotiations, of course, but with what NASCAR could do for UPS and vice versa. First of all, everything that NASCAR shipped out, from overnight letters to packages and even freight stuff, full trailer loads of equipment, part of the deals had to go UPS. And the other thing was NASCAR made a deal with UPS that with the NASCAR merchandising, that UPS got 30% of the merchandising royalties as well. So even though UPS was giving Robert Yates in excess of $18 million a year, UPS was seeing threefold return. And that's why they hung on so long. And that's why, DuPont was with Jeff Gordon so long, and Lowe's with Jimmy Johnson, and STP with Richard Petty, and the list goes on and on and on. And as Bill Batch, 22 Figure Eight, just said, let's ask Buckshot Jones about that. Buckshot Jones was the first team to reach out to UPS to become a sponsor. UPS was in. It was only a $10 million deal. And the contracts went, over the phone, boom, 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 this is what we're going to do. UPS overnights the contract to Buckshot Jones for his signature. Buckshot Jones or somebody in his organization shipped it back to UPS, FedEx. UPS canceled the deal right then and there for reasons that they called it detrimental to UPS. Now, was it detrimental that one guy sent one overnight letter? No. However, it was the image. The image was, we're your sponsor, why would you use our competitor? And the deal was pulled. So, yeah. And,
well, it makes perfectly good sense. I mean, racing has always been a sport that, the fans and the people that are involved in it always, help out the people that are sponsored by the different businesses, because they want to support their sport, right?
Exactly. And UPS went on for a long time as a sponsor in NASCAR, and not only sponsoring Dale Jarrett. And when they came out with the other car, who drove it escapes you right now, but then they started sponsoring events, Atlanta with a Speedway, which Atlanta is the headquarters of UPS. But when you look at that, what's coming on, what went on in 2020, so many sponsor deals. I wouldn't be surprised if behind closed doors, some of these companies are saying, hey, look, we signed on a 3-year deal, and this is year 2, and we didn't get what we were supposed to get. And I'm sure they're looking to renegotiate year 3. So we'll see. We'll definitely see.
Well, I mean, that be said, that's one of the reasons why, we're not only that we're talking about Green Team NY, but, we're also using them. But,
exactly.
I had those guys come in and they checked out my house. And you know what? This is one of those things where, if you guys have a house or somebody that does, you can call Green Team NY or just click on the link that's going to be in the chat bar there. And it's greenteamny.com and it's /505on. Just have these guys, either virtually or, they can come in safely masked and check out your house. But the idea is that they're going to, work around your schedule and they come in real quick. They'll check it out and just see what they can do to save you money. I mean, especially today with everything that we're doing, whether you're racing or you just want to save some money.
Right.
It's a great option. This is something that's paid for by PSE&G, so it's kind of paid for by the government. And they'll tell you what options that you have that have rebates or grants. It might not cost you much, if anything at all.
Right.
So, but they'll check out everything. They were in our crawl space. They were in our attic, and they gave us some suggestions. Very simple stuff. We're not talking about rebuilding your house. We're not talking about you spending thousands of dollars. We're talking about you saving thousands of dollars right from the get-go. And I'll tell you what, I mean, just me being home with this whole thing that was going on, the electric bills that I got over the last 3 months, I was like, whoa, this is more than I paid all last year.
Yeah.
So not only that, but, your gas or your fuel oil or whatever you're using, they can help save you money. So not only can they help save you money, but, you can help with the 505 on show because they're a sponsor of ours.
Right.
So definitely give them a call or click on the link and just go there and follow through because, we get credit for everybody that clicks through there. And obviously they're looking to, keep a business alive as well, just like everybody else. So if they're supporting your show here, the 505 on show, we should help support them.
Yeah, and one of the things that, for those who are afraid, I don't want strangers in my house, I don't know these people, blah, 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 they can do it virtually. They can do a virtual inspection in your home. So, don't let that hold you back.
Right, don't let that hold you back.
So, anyway, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to offer tribute to to one of our fallen race car drivers who's been in the racing business since the mid-'60s, right up until 2019, when we come back.
Hey guys, this is Jibs from Ocean's 8 Alaska, and you're watching Inravio TV Network.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Hi, I'm Remington. I'm Emerson.
And I'm Sebastian.
We're Palais Royale, and you're watching Inravio TV.
There we go.
Hey, this is Chris Less Jake, and if Inravio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
Hi, this is Mike Jarecki from My Race News, and you're watching the Inravio TV Network.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Hey, drivers, team owners, crew members, get a load of this. Get a free 10-minute interview right here live on the 505 on Racing Show via Zoom. This is a great way to get more exposure for your race team, and your sponsors. You can tell your sponsors and potential sponsors that your interview reaches over 20,000 people per week. We'll even share with your sponsors and on social media, which gives you a lot more credibility. If you're trying for a high-dollar sponsor, this is the way to go. And it's free. It's free. Just message us at the 505 on Racing Show Facebook page, mark it free interview, and we'll do the rest. Anyway, before I move on to what...
an electronic press kit that you're sending out to sponsors and trying to get them to ante up for this coming year, as you should be already. If you haven't, you're already kind of behind the 8 ball. It's like pulling your motor out and getting it freshened up. You don't want to wait till the last minute. So if you're not already actively looking for sponsors, or at least putting a package together so you can start hitting them right after the holidays, because the holidays are tough, this is a great thing to add into that electronic press kit. For you to have an interview on a show that reaches this kind of audience, and something that has the credibility. It's interesting that the more people I contact, they all seem to know this show already. And I've contacted people from all across the country, whether they were in racing and some that were not, but were familiar with racing. And they all seem to know about the 5 Off show. So there's a lot of credibility there. So I wouldn't take this opportunity lightly. There's only a certain amount of interviews that we can do. So it's first come, first served basis, and we're lining them up now. So message us right away if you're interested.
Absolutely. Hey, before we move on to the next segment, I just want to wish longtime viewer and supporter of our show, Gloria Himes. I want to wish her a very happy birthday. Gloria is the daughter of Marty Himes, who is the curator of the Himes Racing Museum in Bayshore. So, Gloria, happy birthday on behalf of the 505 on Racing Show. Anyway, this is the part of what we have to do is a tough one. We lost another competitor, longtime competitor, gentleman who's raced in since the mid-'60s. Started out in figure eights, drove modifieds, and went on. Jim Kelly. Jim was head of the LIVARS board. LIVARS, the Long Island Vintage Auto Racing Series. And again, like I said, he started racing in the 60s, in the mid-60s, at the old Islip Speedway. Jim was one of those guys that he wasn't out there winning championships. He wasn't out there knocking them dead. But what he was doing out there was that he was going out and racing clean and putting on a good show for his fans. He was a family man. His wife, Debbie, 2 sons, Brian and Chris, and the 2 grandchildren who were his world. You know, when you know a person through racing, you don't know what's behind the scenes, because most cases when we're with a racing friend, I'll say, is you know them from the racetrack. You're not breaking bread in their house. You're not going to their parties unless you're really, really tight, good friends. But in talking to people and knowing Jim, Jim was a family man beyond family man. Jim was a guest on our show. He was a guest co-host a couple of years back. And talking to his son, Brian, you know, and some of the other guys, and you find out different things about a guy that you didn't know. And he had 2 beautiful grandchildren, a boy and a girl. He would meet his grandchildren at the bus stop every day. Every day. Who does that? Jim Kelly did that. And, you know, in talking to somebody, I said, you know, did Jim ever win any championships or anything? And the guy says, you know, no. And anybody I talked to, no. He won a lot of races, 1 or 2 races a year. Every year he competed. But one guy said to me, he goes, Jim didn't win any championships. He was just a champion in life to the people he knew. And he treated everybody well. Everybody. He was a career guy. He had a nice career. Capital One, I remember him telling me about that when he was on our show. But, you know, he raced the vintage car. His vintage car looked exactly like the modified he raced at Islip Speedway some 40 years ago. And he was one of those guys. And he helped everybody. He thought it was a good idea to do this vintage racing, bring some of the old cars back and the memories. And you know, and I'll tell you what, and him and I talked offline about this, you know, why are we doing this vintage stuff? I said, I'm all for it because I'm from that era, 60s and the 70s. And he said, you know what? Because it gets guys like me and Frank Saladino and some of the others that raced a long time ago. Tony Ferranti, although his time wasn't that long ago, but you know, to come back racing and have a good time. Don Howe, one of the winningest drivers in modifieds here on Long Island. They got to put on a show. But you know, it wasn't like some of the other vintage series where I remember sitting at a racetrack and they asked me if I wanted to run with this other club. And yeah, sure, we're here. Well, we might as well run with them too. Guy goes, okay, I'll be back with the lineup. So he brings me back the lineup, and the guy starting like last was circled on the lineup. I said, what, is this guy rookie or something? He goes, no, he's going to be the winner. I shook my head. He's going to be the winner. Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to put on a good show. We're going to go racing. But with like 2 or 3 to go, you know, he's going to work his way up through the field and like pass the first place guy and be the winner. Because, you know, we don't race because we don't want to tear up any equipment. And what I liked with Jim Kelly when I talked to him about driving in this vintage series, which I got to tell you, I had a blast. And he said, we race. There's a little more give and take than real races. We're not bumping and pushing people out of the way, but we race. And sure as heck, we raced. And and I want to thank Jim Kelly, because I had my doubts about going into the vintage racing, and he was an instrumental person in getting me to do that. And as was the gentleman who provided all these pictures that you're seeing today or tonight on the screen were compliments of Russ Clark, who was his crew chief forever. They go back a long way, and when I saw him yesterday, he said, whatever pictures you need, they're yours. Do what you got to do with them. And you look at these pictures, and I'll tell you what, I'm hard-pressed to figure out which is the vintage 22, which is the original one from the 60s, or from the 70s, I should say, because they're identical. And you got to look close. You got to look and see, what's Jim's face looking? Is that the young Jim Kelly, or is that the old Jim Kelly? But his death is going to be a big loss to racing, a big loss to racing, and a big loss to his family as well, because I'll tell you what, I'm looking through some of the pictures the other day at the funeral home, paying my respects. Sometimes when a racer dies, leaves this earth as we know it, they have photo albums of all their racing stuff. Yeah, Jim had that, but he had his family stuff there as well. And it makes you sit back and think, hey, you can't forget those things. You can't forget your family. Your family's big. And Chuck, we've been like family for 30 years. And Bonnie, I know, 40 years, more than 44 years. You become family. And the racing world, sometimes you don't have that. Their life is racing. And Chuck, as you know, we know so many people. They go to work and they race. They go to work and they race. They go to work and they race. And that's it.
That's true. I mean, their life revolves around racing, and you know what? I mean, there's no doubt that Jim Kelly had a passion for it. I mean, somebody who's not winning championships all the time but just wants to get out there and race, that's awesome. I mean, that's kind of what, racing's kind of all about. It's a fun thing, all right, so maybe you don't go fishing every week. Maybe you go racing instead, but for the most part, he had that enjoyment of racing, but, he still had a family life as well, and he had other things that he was doing. It was only part of his life. It wasn't his whole life. Right.
And I stand corrected. It's 4 grandchildren. And thanks Russ for bringing that up. There were pictures of Russ that I looked at with, he's in his race cars with his granddaughter, his grandson, and I'll tell you what, my dad was not into racing at all. He thought it was a waste of time, a waste of money, a waste of energy, and there's more important things you could be doing. But my grandfather, on my mom's side, he took me to my first stock car race, Freeport's Municipal Speedway, or Stadium, I should say, back in 1965. I'll never forget it, and took me to races throughout my lifetime until I was able to go on my own. And my Uncle John, his son, was a racer. And I can remember who I thought I was when I sat in my uncle's race car as a kid. And when I see the looks on these children, I see their faces, sitting in Grandpa's lap in their race car, 30, 40 years longer from that, they're going to look at those, they're going to remember that like it was this morning. And I was just so happy to see that and to be able to share this stuff with you folks today, because nobody knows what goes behind the scenes of a race car driver. They think that, like I said earlier, you go to work, you race, go to work, you race, you're in the shop, you come home dirty, your kids are sleeping, you don't see them. But no, that's not the case here. And Jim will be missed when the season starts in 2021. It's going to be, I'm going to say sad not to see the 22 car out there. It was tough this year not seeing the 22 car out there because, Jim had an illness and just he couldn't kick it. And you do what you got to do, but he will be missed. He will be missed. He was the calming force in LIVARS, and Russ Clark saying, Racing was, and I've said this, racing was Jim's golf game. Just like some guys go fishing, some guys go hunting, some people play tennis. Us racers, that's what we did on Saturday nights. We went racing. And Jim got his last lap at the Riverhead Raceway today. In fact, he had a few laps, and the plan was to bring the race car out there to get that final checker flag, but weather didn't help out with that. But he got his lap to stop the victory lane, and everybody got out and did their thing. So I want to thank Eddie and Connie Partridge, Tom Gatz, and John Elwood for making that happen. Because, you don't realize how important that is to people, to have that final lap, so to speak, and it's a victory. So Godspeed, Jim Kelly. Heaven Motor Speedway's waiting for you. Say hello to my friend Cookie when you get up there, and Tom, and Charlie, and Richie, and all the other drivers that are going to try to bump you out of the way because you're the new kid on the block. We're going to miss you, Jim. We'll be back.
You keep your car tuned up and well-maintained, right? Why? Because preparation and maintenance keeps your investment running perfectly. But are you doing the same for your largest investment, your home? Right now, homeowners can take advantage of a free home energy assessment sponsored by PSEG Long Island. Our experts will check your home for energy waste and help you get utility and state rebates and incentives, making your home healthier, more valuable, and more efficient, saving you money. This limited time offer won't last, so get to greenteamny.com/5off5on and sign up for your free home energy assessment now. Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hey, I'm Raul Panther.
And I'm Commander B. Hawkins.
And I'm Mark Welly. We're some of the Proto Men. If we see you without this bracelet, you're gonna punch in the But if you have this bracelet from Inravio.com, you can win $100.
Put one of these on, or else.
What's up, guys? This is Assuming We Survive, and you're watching Inravio TV Network.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Hey, Village Music Shop. At Village Music Shop, be safe, have fun, play music, whether live, virtually, online, or safely masked and social distanced in person. We have music lessons for all ages, styles, and levels, from beginner to advanced. Also, added classes, recording technology, music production, and the art of DJing. Village Music Shop Online University has you covered. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or message them to get started today. Ah, yes.
Yeah, don't forget, music's a great thing for the holidays, so if you want to get together, maybe a little guitar package or an instrument or something for one of your kids, I think they're giving away 2 free lessons to every instrument purchase. That's their Black Friday special, so you're getting a good $60 worth of lessons free with every purchase.
And I'll tell you, I look back into my music lesson days, and I can remember, the band director in my elementary school, and I played the drums. A lot of people, every kid wanted to play the drums. So there was like 30 kids in this drum class. And then 30 became 20, 20 became 15, and it was 10. And then you had 6 guys and a girl, and it was solid. And, the things you learn from music. And I used to use music, playing the drums, as my calming effect, because I could put the headset on and beat those drums like, I was beating somebody I wanted to beat up, but it was good. And then my friend played the trumpet, so he came over and he started playing some music, and another friend had a guitar. Next thing you know, we're just sitting there and jamming, as they say, and those memories, and I'll tell you, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chuck, playing an instrument and you don't touch it for years and years, and then you pick it up, it's like riding a bike.
It does. I mean, once you learn it properly, it definitely comes right back to you, and it's interesting how all those memories come back to you, too.
Yeah. Like I said, I was more of a percussionist than I was a drummer, but you learn, and I had good teachers along the way. And here at Village Music, I come in here and I see the studios full with kids and adults taking lessons. And for those who don't know, our studio is in the basement of Village Music Shop, so I see the teachers and the students all the time, and I don't see these kids walking out crying or being dragged by their parents to come in. They're looking to do this, so take advantage of that. It's a really good thing, a really good thing.
Yeah, it's a really great hobby, especially for for all age groups. I have a lot of adults that sign up because it's a great stress reliever. But it's also something great to keep the kids occupied during this whole lockdown thing, and it's something that's a positive thing to learn, and it's it's a safe thing to learn as well.
Right, and I'll tell you what, I look at playing an instrument, music, being musically inclined, and having your kids racing. I knew when we were racing, and my kids raced most of their life. I knew my kids were in the garage that night. I didn't have to worry. My mom, when I was a kid, she knew I was in the basement playing music with my friends. They didn't have to worry, what we were doing. And it's a good thing. And to have a passion for something, and it's nothing better than being musically and passionate about your music. So, and I know, Chuck, you've been playing your whole life too. You've been playing instruments along the way.
Yeah, 50 years.
50 years. Wow. So yeah, it's a long time. And like I said, you still do it. You still pick it up and do it because it's fun. Yeah. Anyway, NASCAR. 2021, like we talked earlier in the show, it's kind of, not that it's up in the air, but when you have teams start juggling how they're going to market their sponsors, you sit back and say, okay, so they got, I'm making up a number, $1 million from this company, and they have, half of that to use for marketing that sponsor. And it used to be that on the midways of the racetracks, behind the grandstands of the racetracks, all the team haulers, all the sponsors of NASCAR were selling gear and selling shirts and hats. And when Sprint was a big sponsor, they were giving you the fan scan, to use and watch the races. And even before 2020, that was starting to fade away. And then 2020 hit. All of that stuff that was made, that was bought and purchased to sell at racetracks, didn't happen. And where is all of that stuff? Where are the T-shirts and the hats? Yeah, people were going online and buying, but where is all of that stuff today? And what are they going to do in 2021 if we start out the way we ended off in 2020? And that's a question. I mean, Chuck, you've been in the racing business a long, long time, promoting your music store, whatever. What do you do with all of that stuff that now you have a warehouse full of unsellable stuff?
Well, I think part of the problem with everybody is that we're all going to have a problem. I mean, like every business, I hear people complaining to me that, we're down $75 million from last year.
Right.
Well, you know what? Everybody's down.
Yeah.
That's not, that's not a revelation. Everybody's going to be down. So the question that I have, and, this happens even with sponsors for our show, but the question that I have is that they don't have money to spend. And then the other question is, let's say they plunk down, just for a round number, let's say they plunk down $20 million for last year's NASCAR sponsorship of a team. Now, when they factor all of these numbers in to come up with a sponsorship dollar, they factor in how much TV time that they get, how many races they do. If there's an in-car camera and it pans, do they see that little logo of the company that's being sponsored on the roll bar? Is there a camera underneath the car? Do they see it on the shock? Yeah, the name of the company, all of these things. Every time you see a sponsor's name, that's something that, all those little things are something that race team is getting value for, and because the sponsor's getting value for that.
Right.
So you wind up adding that up, and that's kind of what we're saying by, hey, anybody who doesn't want to get the free interview on our show, they're missing out on our awesome opportunity to make up all of that sponsorship exposure that they missed throughout 2020.
Right.
And you might be missing it going into 2021. What's to say a sponsor says, listen, we gave you $20 million, but we feel we only got $5 million worth of exposure.
Right.
So they're going to want back $15 million.
Yeah.
Whereas you might have already spent that money if you're a NASCAR team, because you still had to get it the car to track. You still had to get the people to the track. You might even had more expenses now because of what you're dealing with.
Right.
That it costs you maybe even more money than that.
Yeah.
So this is a question that hasn't really reared yet, but I'm going to say that it's probably going to pop out soon.
Yep.
How are these sponsor dollars going to really play out when they go to re-up? Are they going to sit down and go, hey, listen, we got to talk about the numbers. This is our return on investment, because ultimately their businesses, that's what they're looking to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking to make money on it.
Right.
So this is what we feel we got. Anybody who's got a business at this point who's hurting is going to be bringing these questions up.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And you see that, and we've had these talks, and, sometimes a guy will sponsor a guy at a local track because the guy works there.
Right.
Or he's his neighbor, he's his friend. And I'll tell you what, I've seen drivers give away quarter panels for $100 because they needed $100 that day.
Right. Or a guy who bought him pizza one time, Joe's Pizza, the pizzeria normally takes care of a pizza for us on Wednesdays when we work on a car.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, there's, and I'm not going to name names, that I can remember there was a certain late model driver who raced here on Long Island, and somebody was talking to him about sponsoring his car, and they wanted their name on the hood. So he goes, okay, the hood is $2,500. I goes, what are you talking about? $2,500? Because that's what I get for it. And I will get that for it. Now, if you want to go somewhere else, guy goes, oh, no, I want the hood. The hood's $2,500. My rear panel's $2,000. My quarter panel is $1,500. And he just went on. And he had different prices for left side, right side. There was the fan side, and then there was the infield photographer side. And this was another guy. He did not go in his pocket for money to go racing. And at the end of the year, he was up a couple of shekels between what he got in payoffs and point funds and stuff. So a lot of teams today, especially at their local track, they have a rolling billboard, but if you add up everything every decal and every dollar that they got from their sponsors, it doesn't even cover a night's worth of racing, and you got that guy on for a whole season.
Right. And let alone even with what I did, I mean, I had numbers for every part on the car as well. I don't know if you're talking about me, but my numbers were a lot higher than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
$2,500 wasn't for the hood, and I wasn't running a late model, but My numbers were a lot higher than that, and I charged more for the infield side because people
Right.
saw that more than they saw the wall side.
Exactly. You know, and not to put this guy down, but I drove for a guy, and I pulled into the pits, and it was, Acme Corporation was blazoned on the both quarter panels. I said, "Oh man, we get a lot of money from them." He goes, "Yeah, about 200." Now to this guy, that was a lot of money. I said, "And you got somebody to paint it on the car for free?" "No, that cost me 400." I said, "You spent 400 to satisfy a $200 sponsor."
Make $200. Yeah, it costs you $200 to make nothing.
I'm like, wow, it just doesn't make sense to me. But you know what? I guess when he had pictures of his race car, it was emblazoned with sponsors. It looked good. His sponsors were all happy.
That's what a lot of thoughts are, is that, hey, if I have people on my car, it looks a lot better than an empty car.
Right. Not like the cars I've seen at some racetracks where there's that big for sale sign on it, taking up a quarter panel. That's
But at the same token, you also have to understand that, where at the end of the day, tires are still, $500 a set.
Yeah. Back in your day. Now
Back in my day.
Now they're about 800 for. So it's like seven and change.
We were very lucky that we got paid to race the last bunch of years I raced.
Yeah.
And I had a big shop, so we did very well. Yeah. But it's the way you go about these things, and it's the way you present yourself, and the way you market yourself. And honestly, that's why I came up with the free interview idea. I couldn't think of a better way to help out the local racing community.
Yeah, it would be foolish not to take advantage of that. And I did get a message from somebody today. They're looking to do that, so we'll talk about that later on. But they thought it was like, wow. To them, that was like big. That was a big thing. That you guys would really do that? And yeah, we're going to do that. So it's all good.
Well, that's kind of what we're about. I mean, we want to give back to the racing community. We want you guys to prosper. I mean, I know it's been a hard 2020. It's been hard for everybody.
Yeah.
And I know that you guys have been helping us out with our sponsors and stuff, and that help us to keep the show alive. So we want to, if we can, we want to help out with you guys. So that's why we're offering the free time. And
it has been a tough season. In fact, the Wall Township Speedway down in Wall, New Jersey, had the annual turkey for forever. The governor of New Jersey has told them they cannot have their event this year. The Turkey Derby has been postponed to sometime in 2021. One of the dates they were looking at is the weekend after New Year's. And it's going to be cold.
Yeah.
It's going to be cold, but, again, they're thinking about their fans, the people who sponsored the event. The Krause family, they're fighting the community to keep the track open. The airport wants the land to extend runways, and they're not letting it happen. And they did everything they were told to do to hold the event. The Turkey Derby. It was a 3-day event. This year was going to be last Saturday, this past Saturday, and then Friday, Saturday, instead of Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And there are people that don't have social media, that don't read social media, drove all the way down, up, across to the Wall Speedway, and the big sign out front said, "Turkey Derby canceled. Thank you, Governor so-and-so." And you know what? It's sad. It's just sad that this is happening. And it's not even
the world we're living in right now. Everything's a lot different than what we used to. It can't stay normal.
No, and a lot of people say, "Oh, the track, they're going to lose so much money." I'm thinking about the driver. What about the driver now and spend 10 grand on a motor who can't race now? Guy who went out and ordered sets of tires that are sitting in his garage, or teams that built cars. I mean, come on. And, it just, I know it's a health thing and you got to be careful, but it's everybody from the track operators, to the sponsors, to the teams. Everybody's taking a beating here, and it's a sad state of affairs when you see what we're going through here with this just the world as it is today.
Yeah, no, it's not a good thing, but I guess on the other end of the coin, I guess you're not getting a memorial on the 505 on show, so that's a good thing.
There you go. Yeah, that's for sure. That is definitely for sure. But when you look at 2020, and some of the tracks were able to adjust their schedules, so they started a few months late, and they stayed open a couple of months later. And that tracks are weekly guys. They're trying to get their schedules out for next year, not knowing what's going to happen. And I know Stafford Motor Speedway up in Stafford Springs, Connecticut, released their schedule for 2021. And although there was talk that the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour would not be coming back there, they will be there for 3 events. They will be there for the Spring Sizzler, the Fall Final, and a race, I believe, in August. But a lot of other tracks are not putting forward their schedules because of what's going on. They don't know if they're even going to have a season, some of these tracks, and depending on where they are. So, I
Yeah,
know.
they're probably holding it a little closer to the vest just to see as we get closer to see what they can make happen.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not even like, take New York State. I know here on Long Island, there was a few months there was no fans in the stands. Just wasn't allowed. But then I'd go up to a racetrack upstate and go racing. Place is packed. It's the same state. How could there be different rules for downstate and upstate? And that's just New York, and I'm sure that's going on in other places as well. So we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. Even the indoor races that are going to start up in December. What's happened with those? I haven't heard anything about them, other than that the plans are still in action. But what are you going to do? That's something that's been going on, again, 40, 50 years. Atlantic City, I remember going to the indoor race in Atlantic City in the 70s, and I haven't missed too many in between. So it'll be interesting to see how this the next few months turns out, not only with auto racing, but in business and the economy in general. Anyway, we got to wrap this thing up. Again, I want to thank everybody and for taking time out of your busy schedules to tune in and watch, and your comments and your input. Chuck, doing what you got to do to make it happen and not miss the show out of our New York studio there. And again, our prayers are with the family of Jim Kelly, his wife, his children, his grandchildren, and
Absolutely.
all the people that he was close to, and all the people that he touched. Jimmy will be missed, and we'll go on, and we'll be racing in his memory in the LIVARS in 2021.
Absolutely. We want everybody to be safe during this Thanksgiving weekend. Do the right thing, wear a mask. Let's get through this. I mean, this is a big thing for us in our not only racing community, but for our world, for our nation. So this is something that's going to be in the history books. So what we do now is going to basically prove what we're going to be doing next week, next year. So.
Yeah, who knows? And like we said, on behalf of the 505 on Racing Show, Ultimate Media, and Inravio.com, happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you and your families. And let's do what we got to do this Thanksgiving holiday so that we're around for a Thanksgiving holiday in 2021. Good night, everybody. Have a good week.
Good night.